Hi, Sandra Espinoza here, designing sewist, teacher, and sewing blogger, and creator of the Everyday Sewing Skill Set online course. I'm here to talk to you about shopping your stash. And what I mean by that is, what can you do with the things you already have? The fabric, the patterns, the buttons, all of the other notions you have that you can make do with and be inspired by, including being inspired by the things you already have in your closet. When you're sewing for yourself and you visit a fabric store, it can be really hard leaving without fabric. It's important to periodically visit your stash and revisit the patterns that you have available to you. For instance, I have this fabric and it is a nice weight, it drapes beautifully, and I've been keeping it around for several years now. I keep it because I do like red and I do like the way that it drapes. But I have resisted making anything from it because the red is a warm red, and warm red does not look good against my face. So I need to figure out what to do with it, and I have a lot of it. As I was visiting my pattern collection, I happened upon this pattern, and I like the shape of it. I don't enjoy that it's made with a fabric that has horizontal texture, which I don't think anybody looks good in horizontal texture. But I do like the way that it's constructed because it has a collar here, and so I thought that was my opportunity. I knew that I'd be able to cut that collar piece out of another fabric, and that could be against my face and frame my face away from that warm red. So I visited my stash again, and I found this really pretty open white lace. It's a cotton poly blend. It's mostly cotton, but it's very soft. It has a soft hand to it. And while this is usually too girly for me, but I do think that it could be a nice texture when it's surrounded by a lot of red. And as I was pulling the palette together, I was trying to figure out how I would use the other things that I have in my stash, which are things like buttons, and this particular pattern calls for buttons. So I visited my stash, and lo and behold, I found a perfect match, a red button. And like I say, I always go for specific color palettes so that it's easy for me to shop my stash and get creative when I have time to. So I found these buttons that are the same color as this. So as I was thinking about it and sort of laying it out, I realized that that wouldn't be enough contrast for me with this white around my face. I needed something else, and I didn't want to use white buttons because I don't have white buttons in my stash. And then I thought that I could use a thick white thread and have the white dots showing up in the middle of my button. But I didn't like that either. I thought it was starting to go too bland. But I do like to add a bit of flair or detail when I sew things. So then I thought that I should do something else and go plan B. And my inspiration typically comes from designers or magazines. So I picked through my clipping. This clipping gave me the inspiration that I needed. And so like I say, when you have a specific color palette that you go to, I also have specific clippings that I take that are my color palette and my style, shapes, and silhouettes that I think will work with some of the things I already own and fabrics that I might already have. So I keep these things in a notebook, and on days when I need that inspiration, they come in really handy. So with that in mind, I visited my button stash again, and I found these buttons. They're black with a kind of leather look, and the texture is a similar texture to the lace. So I like that the textures worked really well together. The next problem was trying to figure out how to get the black and the white and the red to work together. I knew that I would layer the red fabric underneath the white lace so that that would be what was the collar of the dress. And then I knew that I needed to do something else. And my idea is actually to add some detail along the dress somehow. I don't know how yet that it's going to come together. But I did find a fabric. As I shopped my stash, I couldn't find the one key piece that would bring it all together. So I had a mini splurge. I bought 3/4 of a yard of this really beautiful chiffon. And I love it because it reminds me of Marc Jacobs fabric. And this is not Marc Jacobs fabric by any means, but it's similar to the whimsical fabrics that he uses. So when I found this, I thought that that was perfect. It's that same kind of texture, but it's a different fabric and it has the black. So I'm super excited about putting these pieces together and getting that look. Now, the only reason this worked for me was because I had those little inspiration pieces. So this is the notebook that I keep. And I have many pages that I've taken out of all of my magazines. So periodically, and I've stopped subscribing to fashion magazines because I just got overwhelmed with them. And I found that I could just pick things that I'm drawn to, and obviously I'm drawn to red. I can see that designers like to mix reds with strong blues, with whites, with blacks, with orange, with pink. And it was just about finding that right inspiration that made everything work together. But just give yourself some time. Take out your inspirational pieces, organize them into one notebook, and you'll be set for any time you lack inspiration. You'll be able to put things together like this with ease. Now, how it will look, I'm not sure, but I do have motivation and I have inspiration. And I'm excited to move forward. I don't know how this all is going to come together yet, but I do think that it's important to be inspired by the pieces you already have and realizing that at some point you just need to get rid of things that aren't exciting to you. I knew that I loved this fabric, but I knew that it wasn't going to work near my face. But I got inspired by visiting my own pattern stash, realizing that I had an opportunity to do something different there with the collar, and it's exciting. So I don't know what I'll do. I might make a lot of modifications as I move along through this particular project, but I'm excited to do it and have you follow along. So if you like this, please subscribe so you can see the evolution of this dress. And you can always visit me at my website to see more specifics at ethelandi.com. Thanks so much for watching.